Do you know, this is the only mega development with more than 1,000 units in our unit with high occupancy rate and strong rental demand. Welcome to Sims Urban Oasis. Today we will be doing a full review on Sims Urban Oasis. I'll be breaking it down into 3 parts. In the first part, we will be doing market insights and why the rental demand here is so resilient. In the second part, we are doing a full project overview as well as which layouts people actually go for. In the third part, we will be determining whether Sims Urban Oasis is suitable for own stay or investment or maybe even for both. I'm Javier, let's get right into it. Here's the first part where I find most interesting about the project. Back in 2019, a 2-bedroom unit here was renting for roughly about 2,200 a month. Fast forward to today, you are looking at closer to 3,800 on average. That's a significant increase of rental income over the past few years. In terms of yield, you're roughly looking at a high to 3 to 4% range, which is meaningfully higher than most of the condos in Singapore with a 2 to 3% rental range. Now, those numbers are important, but the bigger question is why? Sims Urban Oasis sits within a very dense HDB catchment with thousands of flats in the surrounding area. But here's where it gets interesting. Not all of that supply actually competes in the rental market. HDB policies place restrictions on rental. For example, flats within their minimum occupation period can't be rented out at all. On top of that, quotas limit the ability to rent to non-citizens, and some units like public rental flats never even enter the open market in the first place. And moving forward, with newer schemes like the Plus and Prime HDB models, restrictions are even tighter, including longer occupation requirements and rules that limit how these flats actually can be rented out. So what this actually means? While there appears to be a large supply of housing in the area, the effective rental supply is actually much more constrained than it looks. And when tenants are looking for a place in this part of the City-Fringe, close to the MRT, close to workspaces, but within a private residential environment, options become much more limited. And that's where Sims Urban Oasis stands out as one of the clearer, more accessible choices. That's also why the project has built a reputation for staying actively rented. Occupancy tends to be on a high, and units often move within a relatively short period, which points to strong and consistent rental traction. And the tenant profile here is quite straightforward. We have got working professionals commuting to the CBD and students connected to nearby institutions like Nexus International School and James Cook University, which adds another layer of demand to the location. As you can see here, the address is actually in Sims Drive, our unit. Now I know some of you are probably wondering, District 14, isn't that Geylang? However, it's actually in the same district but very different address. For future growth potential, there is a new food factory, Government Exchange, upcoming in the area. With a new food factory in the area, this means a higher working population adding on to the workforce catchment. With more working population, this means higher housing demand, higher rental demand, and also increasing the potential for your investment at Sims Urban Oasis. This empty plot of land is actually very near Sims Urban Oasis. It is actually zoned for residential usage, which means there could be potential for future redevelopment in the area. With limited housing supply, this could actually be a game changer. But the question is, what actually is the investment potential? Stay till the end of the video to find out more. From a transport point of view, the location is simple to understand. For our Aljunied MRT, you have 5 stops from Raffles Place, 3 stops to Bugis with the Downtown Line interchange, and 1 stop to Paya Lebar. That gives the project a practical connection to the CBD, City-Fringe amenities, and the wider Paya Lebar Growth Corridor. And if you're looking at the school angle, Nexus International School and James Cook University are both nearby. That's a steady expat and student tenant base built right into the location. So when I look at the demand side of this project, I think there is a real rental catchment here. There is convenience, and there is also a type of tenant demand that is easier to understand than projects relying purely on future promise. And that brings us to the next question. If the location story is already quite strong, does the project itself still hold up today? Because rental numbers are just one thing, so let's dive deeper about the project. This project is developed by GoCoLand, the name behind projects like Martin Modern and Lentor Modern. So, you're looking at a developer with a proven track record in delivering well-designed, high-quality residential developments. And what you get here is a true large-scale project, 1,024 units over 250,000 square feet of land, which allows for a full suite of facilities and a more comprehensive living environment. Let's take a look at the facilities now. To my right, you have a 50-meter lap pool and a tennis court, as well as the gym and a full function room facilities at the main clubhouse. Behind me, you have a barbecue pavilion, as well as you have commercial shops to my left. We have everything you need here at Sims Urban Oasis. We are currently in the rooftop garden in the Sky Park. Let's take a look at this unblocked $1 million view. For investors, the two-bedder is typically the sweet spot. It's easier to rent and more affordable in quantum and appeals to a wider tenant pool. For homestay buyers, it offers something many newer projects struggle with today, a layout that feels generally flexible. The design here isn't trying too hard to be overly compact or clever. Instead, it focuses on what matters: efficiency, practicality, and day-to-day usability. And that makes a real difference for both homeowners and tenants. There's also a two-bedroom dual key at around 786 square feet, which opens up a completely different usability option. For buyers who want to live in one portion and rent out the other, or simply have more flexibility in how the unit generates income, this becomes a very relevant and strategic option. At the larger end, you also have a 4-bedroom dual key and a 5-bedroom unit, which adds depth to the overall project. So this isn't one-dimensional investment play. It caters not just to investors but also to family buyers, multi-generational living, and even different kind of tenant profiles. Now, let's come to the investment angle. Since its completion around 2017, Sims Urban Oasis has already seen steady price growth, moving from the mid 1,400 per square foot range during launch to around 1,900 per square foot range today. That's a healthy increase over the past few years, broadly in line with the overall growth we have seen across District 14. And looking forward, one of the longer-term catalysts here is the Paya Lebar airbase transformation, just one MRT stop away. Once the airbase relocates, this entire area will be redeveloped into a new precinct. We are talking about one of the largest urban transformation projects in Singapore, and this development sits relatively close to it. Now, this is definitely a long-term story, but it is government confirmed, which gives it a level of certainty that not all future growth narratives have. And beyond future potential, we also need to look at the current returns. As mentioned earlier, rental yields here are generally estimated in the high 3% range, which is relatively competitive compared to other nearby projects which tend to be closer on the lower 3% range. Of course, this always depends on your entry price and unit type, so it's important to stay realistic, but overall the rental performance here has been fairly resilient. So if I were to summarize the investment case, honestly I'll put it in this way. This is not a flashy story, and this is not a new launch hype story. This is a track record story. You're looking at a completed development with an established rental demand, strong MRT connectivity, practical layouts, and a location that continues to benefit from City-Fringe accessibility. That said, there are still trade-offs. It is a large development, so selection of stack, facing, and unit type also really matters. It is also not brand new, so if you are looking for the latest design or newest product in the market, this may not be the one. And because the investment angle here leans more towards stability and rental performance, buyers who are chasing very aggressive capital upside might prefer a different type of asset. But for those looking for a more balanced, fundamentals-driven investment, Sims Urban Oasis makes a very clear case. So, how would I rate Sims Urban Oasis? For location, I'll give it a strong 4.5 out of 5 stars. You're right in the City-Fringe, surrounded by everyday conveniences, from hawker centres to supermarkets, and just a short walk from Aljunied MRT, and there are plenty of bus options as well. For rentability, this is easily a 5 out of 5 stars. The tenant demand here is very real. You have got strong connectivity to the city and a well-established rental pool, from students attending nearby international schools to working professionals commuting to the CBD. On top of that, this project already has a proven rental track record. For layout efficiency, I'll give it a 4 out of 5 stars. Layouts here are generally practical and well-sized, with options like dual key units and efficient configurations that give both flexibility and usability, something that today's buyers really value. It also increases the livability factor, which actually helps with your investment exit plan. For the own-stay appeal, I will give it actually a 4 out of 5 stars. You're getting strong convenience, full condo facilities, and a very livable environment for a City-Fringe development. It's also one of the few large-scale developments in the Aljunied area with over 1,000 units, which means more facilities and even more comprehensive living environment. And there are also plenty of schools in the area. And for overall rating, from an investment perspective, I'll place it at a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Not because it's perfect, but because it's one of those projects where the story is simple, clear, and most importantly backed by actual market performance. So overall, I think Sims Urban Oasis is one of those projects that deserve a closer look than it usually gets. It is a combination of convenience, efficient layouts, and resilient rental demand, and a location that still has a longer-term growth conversation around it. For buyers who want a natural data-backed project to evaluate, this is actually a very solid example. This is all for our Sims Urban Oasis project spotlight. If you'd like to find out more, reach out to me in the link in the description and I'll be happy to guide you. I'm Javier and see you in the next Project Spotlight.